Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to the session of Python programming for GATE DA. Here I am Professor Rahul Jain, BTech MTech Gold Medalist, qualified GATE CS multiple times and GATE DA qualified in GATE DA 2024 when it was introduced first by the board of IIT. This particular GATE DA is completely a specialized version of computer science, right? Before this, computer science stream was there. Earlier, due to the emerging technology, GATE DA was introduced. Among the multiple subjects, Python programming is there, which is one of the key subject there, and it is very essential and stepping stone to learn the other subjects like data structures, like machine learning and AI. Because all the syntaxes which is going to be asked in the GATE DA exam will be based on Python only. So it is very essential to learn the Python programming for GATE DA, right? Now, before starting, we must understand the roadmap. The roadmap of GATE DA or Python programming is must be clear. Roadmap must be clear because at the end, what we want to achieve, the steps must be clear because it is a programming subject, and if we are going to be work on the roadmap, then at the end we can achieve 100% efficiency in this subject. Basically 3 to 4 marks, 3 to 4 questions for 7 to 8 marks can be the weightage of this subject, but these are very easiest marks which you can grab only in 4 to 5 minutes because they are logically done, input output based questions only, right? So step 1, basic knowledge of programming. Basic knowledge of Python programming. This is the essential step where we are going to talk about basically what are the basic concepts of Python, its keywords, its environment, where we can run the code, and if the input output based questions are there, then how to debug and dry run them, right? Step 2, after covering the basic knowledge of the Python programming, we can proceed for the basic syntax and data types. Basic syntax and data types, which is very essential for learning the next topic of it. The step 3, after grabbing the command over the data types, we will start the control flow and important knowledge on modules because Python is completely based on modules. The step number 4, functions, which is a key part of any programming language. Here, functions, definitely 1 mark question you can see from this particular topic. Step 5, after covering the function, we can come to the basic data structure. Basic data structure of Python. So under Python, you know that multiple data structures are inbuilt like list, tuples, dictionaries, sets, which can be done in step 5. And then we are going to cover object oriented programming language, the OOP's property, like classes, object inheritance, polymorphism, right? Each and everything about that. So this is the roadmap. We are going to follow this roadmap so that the understanding would be very clear, right? Now, just working on the overview. You know that Python is a high level interpreted, interactive and object oriented scripting language. Python is high level language because it is very closer to human. It is very closer to human. The style of writing is in the scripting way, and It is object oriented language because we are having the concept of classes, we are having a concept of object, we are having concepts of inheritance, we are having a concept of polymorphism. All these properties followed by this particular programming language. That is why it is called as object oriented language. But one thing that you must be aware, it is a hybrid language. Apart from object oriented, you can also call it as a procedural language. The reason is that it follows procedural way as well as object oriented scripting language. That is why in the multiple books you may see that it is written as a hybrid language. Now, Python was designed to be highly readable, which uses English keyword frequently, whereas other languages use punctuations and it has fewer syntactical constructions than other languages. If you are going to work on the Python, then there are the keywords which look similar like English words. Some of the keywords, for example, none, that is a boolean. Here also we can use it as like that, none. If it is a true, if it is a false, you know that all these are boolean type, and the same as it is we can use in our programming language. That is why Python is called as closer to human high level language, and it uses English keyword frequently. Now, Python is interpreted. So this means that it is processed at runtime by the interpreter and you do not need to compile your program before executing it. This is similar just like Perl and PHP. What we do in the other languages like Java or C, first we have to write the code, writing the code. After writing the code, we have to compile it. So our code is go into the compilation phase. And after, if the compilation is going to be successful, then it is going to do the execution part. That is for other languages. But for Python, directly write the code and execution is there. It is for Python directly. But for other languages like C or Java, the path is like this for GC or Java. But for Python, directly write the code and directly execution. That is why it is called as interpreted language. Python is interactive. This means that you can actually sit at a Python prompt and interact with the interpreter directly to write your programs, just like how you use the notepad. In the similar way, we can use the Python interpreter as well. The reason for discussion of all these points are such points have been asked not only on the gate but directly in the other exams also like BARC and DRDO. Conceptual questions or MSQ questions can also be like that. So it is very, very essential. We are starting from the scratch, then we are going to achieve the moderate level, and then we will achieve the complex level. That is why these points are going to frame the stepping stone for the further concepts. Python is object oriented. You know that all the properties of object oriented, whether it is encapsulation, whether it is polymorphism, where it is data abstraction, all that property Python also follow. That is why it is object oriented language. And Python is beginner's language. The reason is that if you don't know the C of coding, you can start with Python. It is very closer to English language. That is why the coding is very, very easier. Multiple things are directly you can follow here using module. For simple example, let's say you want to create a game. If you want to create a game using other language, let's say Java, you may require, let's say 10,000 line of code. But if you are going to follow the Python language for the same, you can do the same task maybe in 1000 line, because the Python is rich built in the libraries. Python is rich built in the libraries and the module. That is the reason this is the one of the most favorite language of the programmers and developers. Now, let's see here compilation and interpreting. So many languages require to compile, that is translate our program into machine language code, and then it further execute, just like the Java file. Here you can see the source code is in the hello.java. Then we are going to do the compilation. So class file is going to be created, and then exe file is going to be created, which is the final output on the runtime environment. But on the other hand, Python is directly interpreted. Whatever you have written directly run, you can see output without creating any file in between them. That is why it is interpreted language. Now, it is very essential to have a basic knowledge of Python as well. Python was developed by Guido van Rossum in the late 80s and early 90s in the National Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science in the Netherlands. Python basically at the first end, it was basically formed for making some scientific softwares. It was derived from the basic concepts of C, C++, Modula, and Algo 68, Smalltalk, and Unix shell. Python was copyrighted. It is still copyrighted, but it is open source. Its complete source code is also available in the public. If you see, or if you are very eager to work in the open source environment, if you are very interested in the open source environment, you can also contribute. The meaning is that free to distribute, free to distribute, free to contribute, free to share, and freely available. Its source code completely freely available. You can also do the modification, and there is a community. If they are going to feel that your feature are going to make some impact, they can add the features, and your name is also going to be added into the community. And Python right now is maintained by core development team at the institute, and a very big community is there. Now, feature, Python features, easy to learn. You can say that if you want to learn English language, so what is the stepping stone? That you must have knowledge of alphabets, A, B, C, D to Z. You must have a knowledge of basic structures. That is why if you want to go into the hardcore coding program, Python is very easy to learn. The reason is that the syntax are very easy. Python has relatively few keywords, simple structure, and clearly defined syntax comparative to the other language. That is why it is very easy to learn as well as easy to read. The reason is already told that directly, just like how we read the English words, almost many of the keywords and many of the syntaxes are like that. Easy to maintain. So the one of the reason of success of Python is its source code is fairly easy to maintain. I can save my Python file with .py and I can run anywhere on the interpreter. As well as it have a broad standard library, right? We can call them as a module based language also. Whatever task we want to perform, we can perform in very small line of code. Even though if you want to design a game, you can design a game maybe in the less than 100 line of code here, because it is rich built in the library and modules. And then interactive mode, support for an interactive mode in which you can enter the results from the terminal right to the language, right? So it is the runtime environment is interactive. Now, it is portable. Python can run on wide variety of hardware platforms, whether it is Unix platform, whether it is your Mac OS, Macintosh, whether it is Windows, everywhere Python support. As well as it is extendable. You can add low-level module to the Python interpreter, and this module enable programmer to add or customize to their tool also. So you know that many times if you are going to observe the Google Chrome browser, there are multiple APIs are there. So if the APIs are working on the smaller part, and let's say from in future the public is increasing because of the demand, let's say the visit on that particular API is increased. So using Python language, such kind of API can be easily handled. That is called as extendable. Database, you can use the particular Python language into backend also. You know that if you want to design any development point of view, front end is there, back end is there, correct? So you can use the language for front end as well as for back end. It supports both. Many full stack developers use Python language, and they try to combine other languages like Stack, or they do their tasks like Django or MongoDB using Python because of portability and flexibility. Then GUI, guided user interface, very easy, and it is scalable. It can handle large data set as well as it can handle each and every interface. These are important features of Python language, which are the reason that why this particular language is so much success and using everywhere in every domain. These are the Python environment. So you can see here Unix, Windows, Macintosh, operating system, DOS, Palm OS, Nokia mobile phones, Windows CE, Acon, BEOS, Amiga, VMS or OpenVMS, QNX, VxWorks, PSION, or Python has also been ported to the Java and .NET virtual machines. Now, we are starting with the basic syntax now. Python's basic syntax. So here you can see that if you want to print anything, directly you can write it under double quote, hello, comma, Python. So if you want to print anything, a very simple keyword is there, that is print followed by double quote, and whatever you want to write, let's say if you're writing RJ, just write it like that. Just write it like that. And then followed by semicolon if you are using it on interpreter. If you are using the Google Colab, if you are using Google Colab, then on Google Colab you only need to write the print, then you have to use the parenthesis. Under parenthesis you can add double quote also, you can write your code, as well as you can use single quote also, and you can execute that. So both are the correct way. So you can just see that the syntax are very simple, right? Syntax are very simple. Let's say you want to do some mathematical computation. Directly you can write it like this. No need to declare the variable. If you are going to do the same task into the C language, what you will do? You will write int A. You will write int B. You will write int C. Then what you will do? A equal to B. A equal to 3. B equal to 4. C equal to 5. Then what you are going to do? After that you are going to write A plus B into C. And then whatever is result there, one more variable you will declare, let's say int D. And you are going to store the result here. And then finally you are going to print the result. But in Python, you can do the 9 to 10 line work in only one particular line, right? So you can see that only for a smaller task, we saved the 9 line of code. So you can assume that if we are developing or designing a very large game like PUBG, thousands of lines of codes we can save, right? So we can do a bigger task by writing lesser number of code here also. That is the easiness to learn, right? So here what we learn, that if you want to print anything, you can simply use the print keyword and directly use the double quote or single quote. If you are using Google Colab as your tool, then you can write it like this or this. No requirement of using the semicolon and unnecessary syntaxes there. Okay. Now, script mode programming. So what it is? Invoking the interpreter with a scripting parameter begins execution of the script and continues until the script is finished. When the script is finished, the interpreter is no longer active. For example, here you can see print hello Python. So if you are going to run this particular line, then output is going to be this. And after that, you can also write this line. Even though just by writing this line, if you are going to just run, this would be the output. Again, if you are going to use this statement and you are going to run the code, you can just see this particular output. As well as if you are going to write the both line also, this would be your output. The meaning is that we can run the particular Python programming line by line also. No requirement of writing the complete or entire program and then execute at end, just like the other languages. Now, Python identifiers, important thing. You know that just like the other languages, whether it is C or whether it is Java or whether it is any language, identifiers are there. Some rules are there that if you are going to work in the particular environment, so how to declare the identifier. So some basic rules are there that if you want to use any variable, if you want to create any variable, that variable must be alphabet, that variable must have the alphabets, whether it is in lower case or whether it is in uppercase. Okay, as well as it can have numbers also and it can have underscore also. So these alphabets are allowed, 0 to 9 these numbers are allowed, and only underscore is allowed. What is allowed? Only underscore is a special symbol, but other symbols like at the rate, dollar, percentage or any other symbol is not allowed here. For example, if I am telling that is the following is variable name or not, let's say ABC, is this is a valid variable name? Yes, it is a valid variable name. The reason is that all the characters are alphabets here. But if I am going to write it like this, let's say at the rate I, like let's say like this is not a valid, this is invalid, this is invalid, this is invalid. The reason is that this particular variable is having a special character at the rate, which is not allowed, which is not allowed. Getting it? For example, one more time, let's say if you want to create one variable and this time the variable name is, let's say variable name equal to, let's say 9ABC. Is this is a valid variable name? No, it is not valid. It is also not valid. The reason is that it can have the numbers, but not at the starting position. But not at the starting position. So 9ABC is not valid, but ABC9 is, it is a valid. So Python identifiers, it can have lowercase and uppercase alphabets. It can have digits, but it cannot have digits at the front. The front character cannot be digit. Yes, it can be underscore. So let's say underscore ABC. It is a valid. It is a valid identifier. But if your identifier is starting with any particular character or any digit, it is invalid. Okay. So these are the Python identifiers. These are the Python identifiers. Now let's do some practice here. Let's say question number 1, some variables, right? You have to tell that which of the following, which of the following is are valid variable names in Python. So for example, option A, B, C, option B, A, B, C, option C, 9 A, B, C, option D, underscore A, B, C, option E, dollar underscore A, B, C, option F, A, B, C at the rate, option G, A, B, C, 1, 1, option H, A, B, C underscore, Option I, 9A1 underscore B. So these are the options. What you have to just observe here, which of the following is are valid variable names. Valid variable names. So ABC, it is a valid variable name because all are alphabetic characters. Or ABC, this is also valid because all are alphabetic. This is uppercase allowed, this is lowercase allowed. Option C is invalid. The reason is that alphabets and numerical is there, but numerical digit cannot be at the front. That is why it is invalid. Option D, under root ABC, it is valid. The reason is that underscore is allowed at any position. Then dollar underscore ABC not allowed. The reason is that dollar is invalid here. ABC at the rate is also invalid. Reason is at the rate or other symbols are not allowed. ABC 11 is valid because alphabets are here, digits are there, but digits are after some letters, after some alphabetical characters, not at the front. And ABC underscore, it is also valid. And 9A1 under root B, it is also invalid. The reason is that numerical position is at the first. So what we understood here, the basic concepts of defining the identifiers. This rule also obey for defining the functions, defining anything. That is why it is called as commonly identifiers. One more thing you can add here as a note, which is very important part. Identifiers cannot have keywords. So you know that if we talk about Python, right? If we talk about Python, so in Python, what is the latest version? The latest version of Python is 3.12 and the 3.13 is in beta version. Right now 3.13 is in beta version. And how many keywords are there in Python? How many keywords are there in Python? In Python we have 35 words. 35 words which is reserved words, which are reserved words. These reserved words which is already have some kind of predefined information. That is why these keywords are also not going to be utilized as identifiers. So we can write here, identifiers cannot be keywords. Identifiers cannot be keywords, right? Because let's say if I talk about DEF, so you will say, sir, DEF all are alphabetic characters. So why it is not a identifier? Why it is not an identifier? The reason is that this DEF is having all the alphabetical character, but it is a Python keyword. But it is a Python keyword. That is why if it is a Python keyword, then Python keyword cannot be used as identifier. So from this part, simple 1 mark MCQ question can be asked just to check the basic knowledge of this programming knowledge, right, for Python. Now, so here, let's say if we talk about further about the Python identifiers, then class name start with an uppercase letter and all other identifiers with a lowercase letter, right? Starting an identifier with a single leading underscore indicating by convention that the identifier is meant to be private. So if you are starting the identifier with single underscore like this, it means that that particular identifier is private. This is the object oriented property. Private means only accessible in one particular class. If your identifier is starting with two underscore, it means that this is a strongly private. That is strongly private. That is also called as protected. Protected. And if your identifier is started with 3 underscore, then you can say that this is language defined special name, or you can tell them like that it is a language defined special name, right, which can be accessible in entire program. So classes names are defined with the upper letters and all other identifiers with the lowercase. So for example, class gate. This is a valid class name. because if it is a Python class, the first character must be uppercase and the rest of the character must be the lowercase letter. If I talk about the class keyword is going to be followed by gate. This is an invalid class. The reason is that the first character of the class name must be uppercase. The first character of class name must be uppercase. So these are the rules of Python identifiers for creating classes. Now these are the list of reserved words. These are the list of reserved words. So if you are going to run this particular command over the particular Google Colab, then you can see this list as well. You can see this list as well, right? So for example, if I go to my desktop, right, and here I am having Google Colab. So let me just open the Google Colab screen and let's open one new notebook. Okay, then you can just see that if I am going to write the particular code, so you can observe it. Let me zoom it. Let's import keywords. What we are importing? Keywords. So once we are importing keyword, you can run it. It is going to be successfully run. It is going to be run successfully. It is going to be run successfully, right? And then you can use, after importing keywords, we have to use, right, import keywords. Keyword, it is the name keyword, not keywords, keyword. And thereafter we are going to write print module name keyword dot kw list. And if you are going to run it, let me just zoom it. You can see the list. You can just see the list here. You can just see the list here. All these are the keywords. Import keyword, which is a valid module name, followed by print keyword dot kw list. And here you can see all the keywords. These are the 35 keywords, exactly whatever is written here, exactly whatever is written here. So I'm going to read it so that you can understand these keywords we cannot use for the future references whenever we are going to work on the classes, or whether we are going to work on variables or loops. We are not going to use these words as a variables there. False, none, true, these are special keywords. The reason is that only these keywords are there which is having starting character as a uppercase character. These are the special three particular keyword, because only these three keywords are there which is having starting character as a uppercase, but all other are small case. All other are small case. These are boolean. These are boolean keywords. These are boolean keywords. Because in before, I think, 3.8 version of the Python, these keywords are not there in the list. But after 3.8 version of the Python, the community added these three more. So from 32 it become 35, right? So false, none, true, and, as, assert, async, await, break, class, continue, def, del, elif, else, except, finally. For, from, global, if, import, in, is, lambda, non-local, not, or, pass, raise, return, try, while, with, yield. These all are the reserved keywords. Whenever there is a requirement of that, we are going to see it in detail. Now, lines and indentation. Here, in particular Python, you can understand that we don't have a concept of this curly bracket, that is called as body of a code. Body of code. So we use the concept of indentation, means if followed by else, they are written on the same line of scale. Print, 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 print. All these are written on same line of scale. That is called as indentation, because here we don't have the concept of this curly brackets like we have in C programming language, right? So if you are going to change this particular lines, this particular scale, then what is going to be there? You are going to see the error. Python is an indentation language, right? So with the help of indentation, If they are not proper, then your code may give the error, even though if the logic is correct. So we must have to be very careful while writing the code. Only indentation matter here. So all the logical statement at the same scale, all the print or such kind of statement at the same, and if we are having other also, they should be on the same scale, right? Now, multi-line statement. So if you want to create a multi-line statement, you can use plus symbol followed by this slash, and you can keep continuing. This is how you can create multi-line statement in Python. Okay. And if statements are contained in the rectangular bracket or curly bracket or braces, they do not need to use the line continuation character. For example, if you are creating a list like that, so by default it is a symbol of Python list. So here you do not require to use these symbols, because by default we can understand this is a Python list, right? So if it is a Python list, if it is a Python list, or if it is a Python dictionary, or if it is a Python tuple, then we do not require to use this syntax. It is only required when we are writing it freely, right? Now, quotation in Python. Python accepts single quote, double quote, and triple quote to denote string literals, as long as the same type of quote starts and at the string. The triple quote can be used to span the string across multiple lines. For example, word equal to word. This is a valid string. Sentence equal to, this is a sentence. This is also valid string. Paragraph, if you are writing paragraph like this, we are using, this is also a valid string. So here, let's give me the numbering 1, 2, and 3 here. So here you can see single bracket, double bracket, triple bracket. If I want to conclude, I can say that all these three are Python strings. All these three are Python strings. But if I am going to write here also like word, it is also valid. But why to waste unnecessary 4 quotes here if the one is still sufficient? So these 3 quotes you can use whenever there is a requirement of multiple lines. Getting it? So if you want to create a string, you can create a string like this. You can create a string like this. Let's say a string. This is also valid. Or a string. This is also valid. Or a string. This is also valid. Now it is upon you where you are going to use what kind of syntax. So basically, by default, now you can understand, if you want to write something which is just like a keyword or some words, you can use single quote. If this is a bigger sentence, you can use double quote. Or if you want to write a multiple line, triple quotes can be used. But if you want to write triple line or multiple line, then single quote is not going to be work there, because single quote is only formed for writing whatever in the single line or single word itself. If there are multiple words, then you can use double quote. If there are multiple lines, then you can use triple quote. But all are called as nothing but Python strings. Now, comments. How to give the comment in Python? So, using hash symbol, using this hash, you use the hashtag on the social media, Instagram, viral reel, hashtag India versus Pakistan, right or not? So the same hashtag for assigning comments in Python. So a hash sign that is not inside a string literal begins a comment. All the characters after this, whatever is written, so you can call it, this is a comment line. This is a comment line. So using this hash symbol, you can give comments in Python. Now, if your line is containing only white spaces, possibly with a comment, is known as blank line, and Python totally ignores it. It means that you just press the space, and then at any point of time you can press the enter button. So that is called as white spaces. Means some space tabs was pressed there, but it don't have anything. So that is going to be completely ignored by Python. In an interactive interpreter session, you must enter an empty physical line to terminate a multi-line statement. So if you are working completely on interpreter, then you have, if you want to terminate a multiple line, then you have to completely must enter the empty physical line. If you are going to enter it, it is completely going to terminate. That is escape button, just like the escape button works. Now, here you can see multiple statements on a single line. So this particular semicolon symbol allows multiple statements on a single line, right? And this particular symbol is not going, neither it is a statement start a new code block. Here it is a simple snip you can use. Import sys, that is for system property. X equal to foo, it could be any function, followed by this semicolon. It means that you don't want to waste the memory of your system and you want to write anything on everything on the same line. You want to keep continuing. So if you want to keep continuing writing the code without writing the next line into the next line, that is in next line to the new line, you can use semicolon. That is just that, right? Multiple statement group as suits. So if you want to just use the particular statement, let's say if they are conditional statements, then the conditional statements means some condition is going to be follow, then this is going to be execute. If this is not true, then this is going to be execute, else this. It is exactly like conditional statement. It is exactly like what? Conditional statements in Python. So if expression followed by colon, if it is true, whatever suit means it's just like code body, whatever is written here, it is going to execute and directly it will come out of the loop. If this is not true, if it is false, it will come here, it will check if whatever is written here execute, if it is true, else it is also going to be out of the loop. If it is also not true, then directly the control will be here. Whatever is written here, that is going to be execute and finally out of the loop, right? So this is how multiple statement groups as a suits. Basically, if you want to define the body of a code using the conditional statement, then you can use this concept. Now, Python variable types. So you know that variables are nothing but reserved memory location to store value. And this means that when you create a variable, you have to reserve some space in the memory, right? So based on the data type of a variable, interpreter allocate the memory and decide what can be stored in the reserved memory, right? Therefore, by assigning different data types to the variable, you can store integer, decimal, or character. So for example, on the letter phase, you want to do some kind of calculations. Let's say you want to add 5 plus 10 equal to 15, and later on you want to call it, later on you want to use it. So if you want to use it, you have to store it somewhere. You have to store it somewhere. So for storing it somewhere, we are going to require the concept of variable. So that is why we require like a equal to 10. It means that the variable a is holding 10. So in memory, how it is going to look like? So let me tell you it very, very clearly. For example, for example, let's say you are creating a variable in a. Okay. So a is going to be there and it is going to hold one block of memory. It is going to hold what? One particular block of memory. And it is going to reference like this. After that, if you are going to allocate int a equal to 10, so 10 is going to be stored there. Getting it? Now, if you are doing the same thing, let's say you are allocating b equal to a. If you are doing this, it means that what you are doing here, you are assigning whatever is referred by a to b itself. So b is not going to create a separate block here. B is also going to share the same memory block. That is one of the thing due to which Python is also called as the, you can say that, efficient language, right? So b equal to a is also holding 10 and b equal to a, it doesn't mean that b is also going to hold the 10 like this. No, it is going to share the same block. That is what we call, this is not going to be there, but this is going to be there. This is what you need to know as per the concept of Python. But if you talk about C, in C, we are also going to create a new block of memory where the value of A is going to be stored like this. But in Python, it is not so. In Python, it is like that. Okay. After that, if you are changing A equal to 20, now it is very, very important. Why? Because now after this you are storing a equal to 10, 20, but b is storing the earlier value of a. In that case, a is going to be removed itself from here. the new block is going to be created and the scenario is like this. So B is still having 10, but A is now having 20. These are important part, right? This is, you can understand as part the point of Python, because in C it's not like that. In Java it's not like that, right? So same block of memory is stored like this here. Now this is what I want to tell here, the concept of Python variable type, right? So this is how variables are shared across the memory. Okay. Now assigning values to variable. So you can simply see this particular concept that one variable is counter. It is a valid variable because it is not a keyword and all are alphabetic character. You are storing 100 here. It is an integer assignment. You can assign it. Thereafter miles, it is equal to 1000.0. It is a floating point because it is a decimal number, and this is also valid variable name. So this is also valid variable value assigned. Then name equal to John. This is a string, and this name is also valid variable name. The reason is that all the characters are alphabets here. One thing that you have observed here we don't require to write int to define it is an integer variable, or we have to write float to define it is a float type variable, or we have to write string to define it as a string. Getting it? So this is called as the property of dynamic typing. This is called as what? Dynamic typing. So Python is a dynamic type language. You do not require data type. You do not require to write the data type of a variable. But in C, in Java, you have to declare, else the code is going to give the error. But in Python, it is very, very flexible. At the runtime, after declaration of this value, Python compiler will understand it is an integer. You do not need to require to write this. This is called as dynamic typing. This was asked once in, I think, one of the competitive exam also. This is called as dynamic typing language, right? So if you are going to write print counter here, so that particular 100 is going to be output here. Miles, then 1000.0 and name, so that John is going to be the output here. By default, the compiler will understand that this is a string, this is a floating point, this is an integer. Even though if you are not going to write this, runtime it will understand by the nature of the declaration. This is called as dynamic typing. Again repeating, important concept of Python. Now multiple assignment. So Python is very, very interesting in many point of view. These are only few of the points we are discussing here as a basic knowledge of the Python programming environment, right? But there are multiple things like that. So at the completion of the language, you are going to be have a lot of uh, points which is going to make this particular language interesting as well as easy to learn, and as well as eagerness to work in this particular environment, right? So you can assign a single value to several variables simultaneously like this also. So you can see here, without declaration of the variable data type, we are writing a equal to b equal to c equal to 1, or you can declare a equal to b equal to c equal to 3.14, or you can declare a equal to b equal to c equal to whatever value you want to write, right? Whether you want to create a string, you can create a string also, any data type, right? As well as it is also work like that sequentially, a comma b comma c, 1 comma 2 comma John. So it is going to map it like that. The variable a is holding 1, the variable b is holding 2, the variable c is holding John. So variable A is int, variable B is also int, variable C is string. So you can see that the same work we are going to do in the C language, it is going to take 3 line of code. It's here only single line. Easy to learn, no that much complexity of syntax. Just we need to know the basics, nothing else, right? Now standard data types. So if we talk about the Python data types, then Python have basically this particular 5 standard data types: numbers, strings, list, tuples, dictionaries. These are the basic standard data types. If it is a number, you can simply use it like 0 to 1, whatever it could be. Then string in double quote or in single quote, in triple quote. List is going to be in the rectangle bracket, square bracket. Tuple is going to be in braces. and dictionary will be in the curly brackets. These are the topic that where we can talk each and every data type. We are going to take a separate lecture for each and every standard data type. They are very detailed concept, but here you can understand that these are the 5 standard data types in Python environment, right? Python numbers. So you know that numbers data types store numerical values. They are immutable. So you know that what do you mean by immutable? Which cannot be modified. We cannot modify it. We cannot modify it, just like the blockchain. It is also immutable, right? That is also immutable. Immutable means you cannot change the value of it once it is declared, right? That is called as immutability. So number data type in Python are immutable, which means that changing the value of a number data type is going to result in newly allocated object. So if you are writing variable 1 equal to 1, that is fine. But if you want to give the 10 or you want to use different numbers, then you have to create a different variable. If you are going to assign where 1 equal to 10, it is a different variable and it is a different. Getting? It doesn't mean that 1 is updated with 10, just like the C. It's not like that here. Okay. Python supports 4 different numerical types: integer, that is signed integer; long integer, right? It could be in octal also, like this. It could be in hexadecimal also using X symbol. If it is a floating, just use the decimal points, and if it is a complex number, just use the eigenvalue vector I. Right? These are the 4 different numerical type Python programming supports. Now, these are the examples of integer, which I think everybody know that. If you talk about this, so this is integer, right? And this is also integer, but signed integer, right? Integer. You talk about this, right? So they are hexadecimal numbers. You talk about these are numbers, right? These are the hexadecimal numbers. These are some exponential numbers, right? So you know the basic knowledge of these numbers, right? Complex means here we are having this complex term, that is why they are complex numbers. So Python support integers, long, float, complex, all 4 data types Python supports. Now Python strings. What are Python strings? So if we talk about Python strings, so strings in Python are identified as a contiguous set of characters in between quotation marks. So whatever you are going to write between this quotation mark, whatever, that should be in the contiguous fashion. That should be in contiguous fashion. So that is called as strings in Python. So Python allows for either pairs of a single or double quote. Subset of a string can be taken as a slicing operation, which is a talk of letter. Here you can understand. Let's say I am a Python string. So that is a valid way of declaration of a string. Or you can also write like I am a Python string. That is also valid way, right? Now, whatever operation we want to do, we can talk about in the separate string data structure point of, right? Now, these are some of the examples. A string equal to hello world. So the complete output is going to be there like this. We are going to print str, simple, directly with the name of str, then it is going to print the complete string because we are printing the name of a string here. But if you are going to print the string 0, then only the first character is going to be print, because you know that whatever we talk about, whether it is any programming language, the things are stored in indexing fashion. So how it is going to be stored in the memory? In the memory block, it could be like this: H, E, L, L, O, W, O, R, L, D, exclamatory mark. And the indexing is going to be there: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you want to access any particular character, then you can use the concept of indexing. This is called as indexing. These are the indexing. So a string, this is stored in a string 0. At 0 we are having h character, so h printed. If you are writing a string 2 to 5, then 2, but whenever we use such kind of colon, the last one is excluded. So 2 to 5, it means that 2 is included, this is inclusive, but this 5 is not included, that is exclusive here. So what is going to be printed? Second index element, third index element, and fourth index element. So 2, 3, 4, LLO. These are going to be the output here, because we are only printing the selected characters here. That is the second index, third index, and fourth index. Whatever we write at the end in Python, it is exclusive here, right? Now, if you are going to write it like that, string 2 colon something like that. So it means that it is going to start from the second index and it is keep continuing till the end of the string. So 2 colon nothing is there on the right side, means starting from the second index, that is from here, keep continuing till the end of the string, right? If you are going to write a string into 2, so if you are writing like this, str multiply with 2, it means that whatever string is there, it is going to repeat its 2 times. So hello world followed by one more time hello world. If you are going to write 3, means hello world, hello world, hello world, like that, right? And if you are going to use the plus operator here, that is like this, str plus, like this here, right? str plus test, it is going to do the concatenation. So whatever is string hello world, then it is going to concatenate this string test. So this particular plus operator is going to do concatenation, right? Now we can see one example here. Let's say if I am writing one string, let's say str equal to, let's say ELEPHANT. Okay, and if we are printing, let's say print str 1 to 6, then what is going to be the output for this particular code? What is going to be the output? So you know that it is stored at 0, it is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So starting from 1 inclusive, so L is going to be the output. 2 inclusive, E is going to be the output. P third inclusive, so P is going to be the output. H fourth inclusive, so H is going to be the output. 5 A inclusive, it is going to be the output. 6 is exclusive, you know that the last whatever is written after the colon, it is exclusive. So sixth index is exclusive, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is inclusive. So output of the particular code is going to be this LEPHA, right? That is the thing. So this is how we can use the string. Still there are much more to discuss, which is going to be a separate lecture of the string data structure, which is a built-in data structure under the Python. Now Python list. So if you want to create a Python list can be created using this square bracket. So whatever is written inside the Python list, we have to use this square bracket. By using this square bracket, we can create Python list. Now let me try to create simple lists. Let's say li 1, 2, 3. This is a Python list. Okay, let's say li1 equal to 1.1, 2.2, 3.3. This is also a Python list. Let's say li2 1. Okay, let's say some string we can use here. So let's say rj, let's say prof, let's say get. So this is also valid list. This is also Python list. This is also Python list. This is also Python list, as well as let's say li3, let's say true, false, none. This is also a valid Python list, as well as let's say li4 equal to 1, comma 3.14, comma rj, comma let's say true. This is also a valid Python list. So you can understand basic concept. This is an integer Python list, allowed. Floating Python list, allowed. String Python list, allowed. Boolean Python list, allowed. Hybrid Python list, allowed. All are valid. All are valid Python list. Just like what we do with the concept of arrays in the C or Java, in the Python there is no built-in array. If you want to implement the concept of array, you have to use the concept of list. But there is a limitation of array in C and Java, that single data type element can be there. You cannot use multiple data types like integer, floats or string in a same array. Here it is a flexibility that we can we can store multiple type of data type here, multiple types of data type here, that is integer, floats, strings, multiple kind of data types we can store in a single Python list. That is the flexibility with this particular language. So all are valid Python list. Even though if you want to create a integer, that is not an issue. If it is a float, even though if it is a hybrid, you can use multiple data types also, you can store in a single list. That is the flexibility here, right? So again, you can see here string, number, floating point number, again string and floating point number. This is a valid Python list. And one more list is here which is having integer number and one string. So we are going to use print list. Entire list is going to be printed like this. We are using list 0. So at 0 index what we are having? ABCD. ABCD is printed. You are using list 1 is to 3. You know that 1 in the list first index element 786 is going to be print. Then second it is 2.23, it is going to be printed, but 3 is exclusive. Whenever we use the Python list concept like this in colon, this is exclusive, but 1 is included, 2 is included, right? So these two are output here. If you are going to write print list 2 colon, so whatever is written by including 2, 2.23, then John, then 70.2, all these three are going to be the output. All these three are going to be the output. If you are using teeny list multiply with 2, so whatever is teeny list 123 and John, it is going to be multiply, means the same elements are going to be appear twice. And if you are writing the plus, that is called as concatenation operator. That is called as what? Concatenation operator. So whatever is written print list plus teeny list, so this list is going to be merged with this list and the output is like this. That is the basic of Python list that you need to know, right? Now Python tuples. So if we talk about Python tuples, so whatever we have discussed Python list, so it is just like the tuple is just like Python list, but they are immutable. They are immutable. If you create Python tuple, you cannot change it. And the tuples are declared in parentheses. Apart from that, everything is valid. So if you are writing like this, let's say if you are writing like this, let's say tuple tuple equal to 1, 2, 3. That is a Python tuple, but you cannot alter it like let's say tuple, or you cannot use let's say tuple delete tuple. So you cannot use these operations like delete tuple, or you cannot use like let's say tuple 1 plus tuple 2. These are invalid. The reason is that immutability. It means that whatever is created once, you cannot modify it. So concatenation, deletion, modification, insertion, these are not possible here. If you want to do it, you have to convert it into the list, Python list. Again, you have to convert it into the tuple. This is how you can do. But directly, you cannot convert the tuples into, you cannot modify the tuples. They are immutable. Whenever in programming, you want to give some access which is not modifiable. You know that if you want to give any particular ID, let's say bank account number cannot be changed, but bank balance can be changed. So bank balance is going to be stored in Python list because it is modifiable. If it is withdrawn, then decrease. If it is credited, increase. But bank account number is going to be same every time. So bank account number will be declared in tuple. But bank statement or bank balance, it is going to be in Python list. It is modifiable, right? So this is how we use this data structures. These are built-in data structures of Python basically, right? So the same operations if you are going to do, then the meaning is same because accessing is the possible, accessing is possible, right? Accessing is possible. So accessing is, you can done like that, right? Now Python dictionary is there. So if we talk about the concept of Python dictionary, if we talk about the concept of Python dictionary, right? So Let me zoom it if it is right. So Python dictionaries are the hash table, just like the concept of hash table in Python, just like the concept of hash table in data structure. These are the Python dictionary concept. Concept is just like that here in Python dictionary we have the concept of keys and values. Here we have keys and here we have the values. So I can explain it like that. In Python you have keys followed by values, and this must be declared under curly bracket. So let's say the dictionary name is a data, which is the name of dictionary, followed by key, let's say 1, then colon, then the value can be anything. If it is a string, then let's say 1. You can have 2, this is a key. If it is a string, fine, can be floating point also, that is a value. 3, if it is a string, fine. If it is a number, fine. It could be anything. Let's say 3. This is a Python dictionary. This is a Python dictionary. Now, here what you need to do, whenever we talk about the data dictionary, whenever we talk about the Python dictionary, in Python dictionary we have key. So the left side value is key. This is the key, this is the key, this is the key. Just like the hash table. Using key we can access the value. 1 represent 1, 2 represent 3.14, 3 represent 3, and such we can create multiple keys. So if you want to store the, let's say if you want to store the database of any student, so that let's say the name of the dictionary is student, key can be name. So if it is a string in single quote or double quote followed by student name, so let's say Rahul, then colon. The second key could be like enrollment number, enrollment number. It is also a string followed by comma. So let's say enrollment number is 1111. Thereafter, third one. So let's say if it is a age, so it is a, again let's say 30. If it is an integer like this. If you want to store address, then double quote or single quote, depend on the how many, and such kind of you can you can store as much information as you want. This is a Python dictionary. So you can use this Python dictionary concept for executing the backend operations. If you want to store the database, let's say student database, employee database, so using this concept you can use. So Python dictionaries are going to be helpful when you want to store multiple data items that may be of the same nature, may not be of the same nature. So here the database of a student may have name, which is a string, enrollment number, which is a numerical value. Something can be there like let's say percentage, which can be floating point also, address, string also. So if the information can be in the multiple data type and it could be of any length, then to store such kind of information, you can use the concept of Python dictionary that is going to be executed using the concept of curly brackets. Inside the curly brackets, there are the keys followed by the values, and colon is going to separate them. The left side value is called as key, the right side value is called as value. Such as you can install the employee database, library management database, whatever short project you want to do, you can use the data Python dictionary and you can make a short project. So I think for today's session, we can have a pause for it, right? And whatever is there, we'll be going to discuss it on next. Okay. We'll continue it next lecture. Okay. So we will continue on next lecture from here onward.